Okay, Mike, are you familiar with the Actors Guild / Writers Guilds being on strike right now?
Is this some WoW news?
This is not WoW news. Those aren't like
I'm
guilds
talking
in
about
WoW.
guilds.
Yeah, no, these are actual like associations on strike right now.
Well, I guess I didn't know nothing about it.
So most people don't because it's not like it seems to be one of those things that if you're really into movies or certain TV shows and shit, then you might have caught wind of this. But if you're just kind of watch shit on Netflix and stuff like that, like older shows and stuff, you're never going to hear about this.
Yeah.
So basically, the Writers Guild has been on strike for a while now. Like I don't know, maybe at least a few months. Then so what that means is basically that any shows that new shows that were being written are no longer being written. Like the writers weren't doing anything. So there's nothing for any of the new shows to make, right? Because there's no writers. Now the Actors Guilds are also going on strike, basically because they're not getting the people who work for with them aren't getting enough pay. So like only
what I'm saying, is it a money situation?
It's 100% a money thing. So it's basically like the writers aren't getting paid enough. The actors feel like the people who work for on set and things like that are also not getting paid enough, and some of the actors are saying we're not getting paid enough. So there's a big thing across Hollywood right now where it's basically like actors and writers versus
time to shine,
producers.
Man. I'm just
You're trying to get hired?
they can call me up, man. I do it for the cheap.
Yeah.
I do whatever you want.
That's good. I'm sure all of the high ups in Hollywood are watching our podcast right now. They're like, "Oh man!"
They use that search and be like, "Who's the guy that wants to be an actor?" I'm that guy.
Just you're the only name that pops up.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that's basically what's going on right now. And there was a big stir up because of this, involving this news, where some Hollywood CEO was caught basically saying that he doesn't care if they're on strike because he said eventually they're all going to lose their homes and shit like that and have to and he was like they're all going to lose. That's what he said. He said they're all going to lose their homes and their apartments and all that, and they're going to have to come back. And he said he basically said that he can outweight them because he's already fucking super rich. So he's like, I'm fine. You guys can not. And that's what he said.
Fucking turn and get the lower budget actors.
Right, but that was just it. So like people were fucking like super up in arms about it, and there was an actor, I think his name is Ron Perlman. He played Hellboy. You remember the movie Hellboy?
Yeah, dude who lost his horns.
Yes. Well, yeah. Basically, he came out with a comeback to that guy who was saying like he doesn't care if people lose their homes, and he was like, that there's a lot of ways for people to lose their homes. Like when people are angry, they do things that might basically saying like, hey, you keep fucking around, like people are gonna burn your fucking house down.
The motherfucker who said we're gonna keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial, some of it is karma, and some of it is just figuring out who the said that. And we know who said that. And where he lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 million a year for creating nothing. Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of that stirs up. Peace out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
like, let's be fucking real here.
Got
like
enough money to hire arsonists,
right? So, like, I thought that was pretty cool, and I actually really like Ron Perlman. I think he's a cool dude. I like what he stands for. He's pretty like vocal in like his views and shit like that. So I actually really like appreciated him coming out and like basically saying like, we're gonna fucking wreck your world, dude. Like, we're gonna find out who you are, because they didn't even know who said this at first. And they're like, you're gonna lose your fucking
nobody
house.
gonna want to work with the dude now.
Right? Yeah, pretty much. We'll see. But I don't know. That's kind of just what's been going on with them. I obviously am on the side of like the mostly the Writers Guild, not even necessarily like the Actors Guild per se, because the actors are pretty fucking rich too,
Yeah, exactly.
Like they can give up a part of their salary to pay, the everybody else on set too. So I'm mostly with the writers who just do not get a fair shake at, for all the work that they do, and like literally the shows without the writers, the shows don't exist.
We just get a little credit for them.
Right? Exactly. They just get their names in the credits, basically, and like a little breadcrumbs to keep them fucking afloat.
Yeah, and everybody makes so much money off of them.
Right? Exactly. They're literally like the bottom of the ladder on that one. So I hope that they eventually do get more money, because they definitely deserve it. And honestly, like, I like watching new shows on Netflix and shit, and without them, there are no more new shows.
Come up with a good show? No, I can't. Actually, I thought about a show, man. It would have been so funny.
Yeah.
The only reason why, because we were on we're doing Sin Anchor, and I wanted a show called Ensigns, which was, because there's always that lead ensign, the ensign that's been doing it the longest.
Yeah.
And like when so everybody I was on training, they're just looking up to that lead ensign like it was a god. I was like, the fuck is this? It just looks like grown ass people just looking up to the person, the wind's blowing in the hair. I was like, man, they should have a show called Ensigns where they just fucking have these ensigns on the ship just do crazy fucking shit.
And the thing that's funny about that too is just like ensigns are like the lowest level officers, so they're like they've been in the Navy for like 10 minutes. You know?
Exactly.
So
they just showed up. But now I was sitting there on the bridge wing just looking at it like, this shit is comedy to me.
Yeah,
they're looking up at this lead ensign who's only made one deployment.
Yeah,
but these guys are new on the ship, first deployment. They think it's the most amazing thing.
Yeah, they think he's a salty
motherfucker. Have a show
motherfucker.
where they fucking make him just do crazy shit on the ship. Like we had a dude who was getting qualified. He had to request permission to blow the EOW.
To blow the EOW?
Yeah, blow the EOW.
Yeah, the EOW's the engineering officer of the watch.
Yeah, so he was getting qualified to do rounds.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, man, you got to go in there and request permission to blow the EOW.
Oh, my God. Get the fuck out of here.
That shit was hilarious.
Anyway, like, that had nothing to do with the actors or writers.
It was a great show, man. I'd watch it. I watched that Carrier show. And I'm watching all that crime, man. You ever watch that Carrier show?
I never even heard of it.
They did a documentary, like a Carrier on deployment. I forgot what Carrier it was. But this one girl was crying about doing 12-hour cranking for 12 hours. I was like, man, talking about she ain't got no time to do nothing.
Cranking for 12 hours? Dude, cranking was fucking easy. That was so goddamn easy.
Yeah.
You never cranked though, right?
I was the mess deck master at arms.
Well, I'm saying like when you were early on in your career, you didn't.
No.
Yeah. But then you became like master crank, which is the mess deck master at arms.
Exactly. Like 3 times.
Yeah. For those of you who are watching who weren't in the military and have no idea what the fuck a cranking is.
I'm sorry I brought up the subject.
It's basically people who are new to the ship. They get assigned duties away from their division, which involve like working in the kitchen, which is like the mess decks, or pardon me, in the galley. Yeah. Helping out in the mess decks, like actually like dishes, cleaning tables or like, all that type of shit too. So yeah, and it's a temporary duty. Like you only do it for like a couple months, and then you go back to your division, and then kind of start your career officially off. But everybody does it, and by everybody I mean like 90% of new people to a ship. Mike was one of the lucky 10% who didn't have to do it. But then later in his career, he had to go back, and he was like the person who oversaw the cranks. He was like Lord of the Cranks.
Yeah, crank god.
Yeah, exactly. That was that's how he got to
come up to me. Can we go? Time. I had to let my people go. Man, I was like Moses up on the fucking mess decks.
And everybody loved Mike for it. So that's what he was talking about. But anyway,
Instance. They need a show called Instance.
There you go. So
writers,
I forgot what the fuck we were talking about.
We'll go over the details.
Yeah. So there you go. Michael pay you guys to write a show for him.
Yeah.
And with that, how do you guys feel about the whole Writers Guild, Actors Guild versus the CEOs of Hollywood debacle? Please let us know in the comments down below.
Team Writers.
Yeah, I'm definitely Team Writers too.
Ride or die.
Ride or die. That's a great slogan.
Yeah, they should have made sure.
Right, ride or die.